So let's take a look at some of the features of the John Deere Operations Center. Make sure that you're operating this in Chrome for the best user experience. So we're going to type in our username and our password to get signed in. And here you can see the landing page with all the different information. Today we're going to be taking a look at the John Deere Operations Center. On the left-hand side, we have a picture of the tractor. And this shows you the equipment that you have in your organization. When you take a look at your equipment, you can double check your offsets. Here you can see we need to put offsets in for the Hagie sprayer. Offsets are important because it controls the recording point for documentation and for things like section control. So it allows us to make sure that our measurements are correct before creating a setup file. Next, we're going to go down and take a look at Product Manager. Especially when it comes to crop care, we can take a look at the products along with the tank mixes that we're going to be applying in a field. There's even an incorporated calculator that allows us to take a look at what a full tank would be over 160 acres for the products that we want to apply. Here the products are water and Broadax. So next we're going to go to Menu and drop down to Setup Builder. Setup Builder is where you're going to create a setup file to send out to the equipment that's operating in the field. So first we're going to select the display type. For the most part, everybody's going to have the 2630 or Gen 4 display type, and we're going to name the file. Then we can go in and select what we want to send to the machine. Now with a Gen 4 display, you can select just one thing that you maybe want to send to the field, or we can go in and filter by specific attributes that we want to send. After we've selected what fields we want to send to the machine, we're going to move over to number 3 for equipment. Generally, I select all machines and all implements to send to the display, but if you're sending out just a particular piece of information to one machine, you can just select that one. Then we select the products that we want to send to the machine. In this case, I'm sending all pre and post-emerge tank mixes for both crops. We didn't include any operators. Again, there's no operators here, but if you do want to add an operator, there is an Add Operator button at the bottom of the screen. And then we can go to the summary and see what we're going to be sending to the machine. In the bottom right-hand corner, we're going to hit Create File. Once this file is started to be created, it will end up in Files Manager. You can take a look at it there. The great part about John Deere and JDLink Connect is that once this setup file has been created, and it really doesn't take that long, it will automatically send it out to the machines that are enabled with wireless data transfer that you selected in the profile automatically. So there's not a second step after this part. Next, we're going to take a look at Files Manager, and let's say you have a prescription file that you want to send to the machine. Here I've selected a prescription file and said transfer to the 4830 sprayer. If it's a documentation file or an as-applied file, we can go in and we can select the customer that maybe we're doing the custom application for, and then share that file with that individual. If you want to take a look at the as-applied information, John Deere has products called Field Analyzer, and Field Analyzer Beta allows us to take a little deeper look at the as-applied information. Down at the bottom, you can see the timeline of events. The blue A's stand for application, the S's are for seeding, and T is for tillage, for example. So you can see throughout the growing season what map you're taking a look at. Here would be an application map from right at the end of June. Taking a look at the as-applied layer rate, and so if I want to see areas of the field that maybe didn't hit the target rate that we were after, we can click and highlight those. Maybe there's an edit that needs to be done. If you want to change the amount of acres that are in the field or the type of product that was applied, we can do that by clicking on the pencil. We can also take a look at our target rate and our application speed. In this particular map, you can see that the application speed was higher through that one portion of the field. And that tied back to our as-applied rate not meeting rate with the rest of the field. So you can see that that was the reasoning for that. And we can also take a look at total products applied and quantities of each product applied by scrolling down on the left-hand side. Now I'll switch over to Field Analyzer Beta. Take a look at some of the similar information here. We do have a polygon selection tool that allows us to highlight a specific area in the field by drawing an irregular shape, and then it will give us a summary about that information down in the field in the Summary tab. Another thing that we can do is then do a comparative data analysis. So in Operation 1, we have our tank mix application with the as-applied rate. In Operation 2, we have our average soybean yield for all of the years that we've been collecting soybean harvest information. So now we can take a look at, if our average yield was given bushel per acre for soybeans, how does that tie to the gallons per acre applied during our application time frame? So it allows you to dive in a little bit deeper into the data. Especially as we take a look at the fleet, we got a product called Machine Analyzer. It allows us to go in and do a little deeper dive on the machine-related performance in the operation. Here we can take a look at engine hours, we can take a look at utilization for working, transport, and idle time. We can also take a look at technology utilization rates. We can take a look at the type of features that were used, auto track, section control. And we can do this over a given period of time, or we can default to a specific time frame, but allows you to look at this at a glance, and you can compare multiple machines against one another, or we can even export this information into an Excel format. So if you like to kind of analyze your information here, it gives you a little deeper dive on that data. If you want to take a quick look at the information related to what has been applied within a growing season, we're going to go to the agronomic report and choose application. And here we can take a look at all of the products applied. So if we want to just choose a specific field, we can generate a nice printable report that shows the products that have been applied within a growing season. We can also do this in John Deere's new area in the Operations Center called Analyze. It allows us to take a deeper dive into the as-applied information for this field. So we talked about jobs a little bit earlier. I want to cover real quick how we can interface with the smart device in the cab, whether that's a tablet or a phone, with Work Manager from the John Deere Operations Center. This allows us to create jobs and sync them with the mobile devices. So here we're going to create a new application job. We've selected the client and the work description and what date we want it to start. So maybe we're planning this for a future date, and we can put what the instructions are and the estimated amount of time it's going to take. Here we're going to import the field that we want to use. You can see it pulls in the field boundary. So if you remember from the Jobs app, this is handy because we can get turn-by-turn directions to the field. So we say, what machine are we going to send to the field and who's going to operate it? And then what products are we going to apply? So here we can go through the list and just say we're going to apply our soybean post-emerge application. We can pull up details about what's going to be applied in that application. And again, just what do we want commented on at the end of the job. So you can check them as you see fit. And we can click Add Job. Once we click Add Job, the job will then show up on the operator's phone, so it's easy for them to see that. And let's say there's weather coming in and we need to change the order of the jobs for the day. We can do that right at the top of the screen by changing order, or we can change the status of that job here as well. Maybe somebody marked it finished and it's not, and it allows us to come in and make some of these adjustments. Finally, I want to talk about Team Manager. You are in control of your information. And it all starts with Teams when you want to share that information with another trusted partner. And it's easy as just having an email. So let's say we're working with the awesome agronomist in the area, and we're going to grant him access to our information. So as the combine goes through the field, it's collecting the information. As soon as we're out of the field, the agronomist can go in and grab it, maybe create a map-based prescription for, the strip till rig, or, for seeding for next year. We enter in their email, and we choose then what levels of access we want them to have, along with what fields we want them to have access to. After you assign that permission, an email goes to your trusted partner. They receive that information and hit accept, and then they can support your organization right from their own John Deere Operations Center account. So that's just a quick overview of the John Deere Operations Center, where you can see, collaborate, and direct your information.